Here we go. Thank you, Ms. Halcrum, for the reminder. And starting with...
I'm Carly. I'm a sophomore, and the most important thing I think you should do is a planner to stay organized.
Okay, I'm Cadence, I'm a junior, and I think the most important thing is to have lots of pencils and a good attitude.
Hi, I'm Lauren Valley. I'm a junior, and mine isn't really a thing, but just try to get involved in as much as you can your first year so you can get as much experience and involvement as possible because it's super fun here at DC. So.
I'm Luke Malay. I'm a junior. Mine is almost the same as Lauren's, just not being scared to getting involved. Don't be scared to put yourself out there and do things that the school runs.
Hi, my name's Aurelia. Mine's kind of similar. Mine's just it's important to have an open mind because you're going to have a lot of opportunities to do things that maybe you're not comfortable doing, but getting out of your comfort zone is the way you're going to have a good high school experience. So.
I'm Lexi Dinger, and I'm a junior, and I would say that having a positive attitude and knowing and getting involved in activities would really help because that's where you make most of your friends.
All right, thank you, panel. I have changed my mind, teachers, and if you get questions, if you could type them in the chat and I can read the questions, I think that might be the easiest instead of just clicking mute and unmute. So, if you have a question for our high school students, if you can please just type it in the chat. Teachers, if you could ask your classes while you're on mute and type it in the chat, I will read the question and our high schoolers can answer it. So we'll start taking questions now. I'm going to ask the first question while we're waiting. What was the first day of freshman year like? I know you could speak to how we have a freshman only day. Does someone want to speak to that?
I can.
Sure, Luke.
So the first day of freshman year was really cool. We walked into the gym with everybody there and a bunch of upperclassmen showing me where to go and things like that. And then we had an opening assembly with Mr. Kappas and Mr. Volley, our theater guy, and it was just really cool, start to our high school career.
I'd also like to add something. For my first day of freshman year, my link crew leaders gave me a tour of where all my classes would be, so that was really helpful as well.
And in our first question in the chat, it said, tell us more about the link crew. Is anyone a member of link crew on this panel? So Miss Lauren Valley is. So why don't you speak to the link crew?
Yeah, so I was in link crew last year, and I'm going to do it again next year. So I might actually see some of you guys next year in Cadence as well. So basically what we would do is we come and kind of give you a ton of different tips on your first day of school. And on your first day of school, it'll be just freshmen. So the first day will be super awesome because you'll be surrounded by peers that you know and maybe some people from other schools as well. And you kind of get tips from us on how to, go about high school, and we'll also walk you through your schedule, and we'll tell you where to go through all your classes, so it may not be as intimidating the first day. And as Luke mentioned, we did have an assembly, hopefully that can happen next year, or some sort of opening ceremony that is super awesome as well. And our link leaders, we stay in touch with you all year, so if you have any questions, you can always come and ask us anything that you guys would like, and we make group chats, and we'll always be around if you guys ever need us, if you want to.
I would just say that link crew is just a really good way to get a few familiar faces on your first day without everybody being there. It's just a good way to get a few familiar upperclassmen faces, just people who can help you out anytime you're in the school. And going forward in your first week, as scary as it can be, it will be amazing.
Okay, first another question. What is the hardest thing about transitioning to high school did you find?
I'd say that around the first week, it's kind of difficult because you're in two buildings, obviously, and they're also massive. But it's intimidating around the first day. But everyone's nice. You can ask anyone; they'll tell you where things are, and you really get used to your schedule quicker than you would think. So for me, that was the most intimidating thing. But after the first week, it's a breeze. So don't be too scared.
And that goes with another question we have: is the layout of DC very confusing? Aurelia spoke to two buildings. But I was here too next year. I was new last year, and I got used to it very quick. It becomes habit, and everybody is in the same boat, not just freshmen, but transferring students as well. So the next question is, what about grading in high school? How does late work affect your grade?
So I guess it mostly depends on the teachers and what their policy is, but for the most part, if you have a late grade, 50% of the credit gets taken off your grade. So let's say there's an assignment that's 100 points, and if you turn it in late, the max you can get is 50 points. So yeah.
So cuts in half right away, late work. And something to explain, when you fail a class in high school, you must retake that exact same class. You will have a different teacher, but you will have that same class. So it is a tremendous setback when now it's not impossible to come back from, obviously. There's some wiggle room built into the system, but yeah, it's that entire class over again. No moving on. Is the subway still here?
Not this year, but maybe next year.
To be determined.
Yeah, to be determined. Good question. I didn't know that either.
We have Pizza Hut pizza. It's really good.
And Bosco steaks.
And
And
chicken
Boston.
sandwiches.
They're really good.
And ice cream.
And ice cream, yeah. I have to eat ice cream for lunch because that's not good.
Okay, no ice cream for lunch. The next question I could probably answer this. How many classes of subject areas do you need to pass in order to graduate? That's a pretty long and complicated question, but all your answers are on the Douglas County High School homepage. On the left side, middle, it says Academic Planning Guide. Anything you need to know about credits is in that Academic Planning Guide. There is charts. It's like 100 and some pages. Anything you have to ask, and your counselor will go over everything you need, your 24 credits needed to graduate. But that's a detailed question that you can email your counselor, or you could just go to that Academic Planning Guide. 4 English, 3 Science, 3 Math. I can go down the whole list of the 24, but if you could look for yourself, that's the best way to learn. The next question is speaking to our block schedule. Does someone want to kind of explain our odd even day schedule?
Okay, so our odd even schedule. Okay, so this week was an even week. So Monday started out as even, and then Tuesday was odd. So on Monday you have all your even classes. So you have periods 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then on Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, you had all your odd classes. So you had periods 1, homeroom, which is period 3, period 5, and period 7. And so every week it just alternates what week it is. And then on odd weeks, we have PLC days on Wednesdays. And so basically PLC days, we don't have homeroom or AA. So you get to sleep in until like 9:19 is when first period starts.
Unless you take the bus, then you come at the normal time.
Yeah. And then also, one thing that you guys didn't have is you had me time, but another good thing to think about is we have homeroom and then AA afterwards. Make sure you utilize AA if you ever are falling behind in any class. So that's going to be considered period 3. So make sure you go to homeroom and then utilize AA to talk to your teachers. That's a really good time to use.
What does AA stand for?
Academic advisement. So that's basically a time where you can go and get help from any of your teachers. Or go to different club meetings or anything of that sort. And also, I know an hour and a half-ish classes may sound intimidating, but it's really helpful to get a lot of information in at one time and have a lot done at once rather than split up into multiple classes.
So about an hour and a half per block. And the AA is extremely important because you can go to the class that you need extra help in, and that teacher will be there to help you. So, when students take advantage of that, it's extremely helpful. Let's look at another question. Are there microwaves and hot water dispensers for lunch? Yes, there are. A lot of students are completing. The next question.
Mr.
Okay.
Davis, I'm going to jump in.
Sure.
Mr. Schneckloff's question from his class is, now that teachers are using multiple platforms, What's the best way for a student to stay organized with student life?
Excellent question. I don't know how I missed that.
I would suggest using a planner for everything. I know that it kind of sounds, difficult, but if you just keep it out and then you listen for the assignment, you write it down, you write when it's due, it's so easy to stay organized. And, I think that helped me the most really throughout high school. So.
Also, this year, we have this thing called Canvas, and so basically all of your teachers will post their assignments onto Canvas, and it has like a to-do list, and so it tells you each thing that you need to get done, and then once you've done it, it'll go away. It also gives you a calendar with each event and your assignments and what days they're due. So that's also really helpful. I know we didn't have that our freshman year, but that'll help you keep organized. And then also we have Infinite Campus, which is just mainly where you'll have the overall grades of everything go. So yeah, it's a lot easier to stay organized with that.
Also, another thing with the planners is that you will automatically get a Douglas County planner just so you can keep track of everything. So yeah.
So you heard two different answers, kind of a digital and paper and pencil. You gotta find what works for you guys. Being organized is key. I have a specialized Google Docs that I use to stay organized, that I share with my students, that is laid out, and it's a living document. But you gotta find what works for you. It makes life so much easier. And I get it. That sounds like a corny or generic answer about staying organized or using a planner. And you might think, oh yeah, whatever. Whether you use your phone, whether you use a doc, whether you got to find out what works for you, because there's just too much stuff due and on your plate in high school for you to keep that all in your head. You just can't do it. So really, you hear all these students spoke to it, whether it's digital, whether it's paper and pencil, whether it's a phone, whether it's an app, whether your counselor hooks you up with a doc, whatever, find out what works for you. I'm just reading these questions. Are freshmen allowed to leave campus during lunch?
No.
No, they are not. That is a sophomore privilege. Students are completely capable of participating in band and orchestra. How flexible are student schedules in order for students to take band and orchestra and other electives too? That all depends on our master schedule. That's more of a question towards me. Have you guys found that you were not able to take a class because of special activities? A lot of these students are on student council. Some of them are in link crew. So all the students here are on special classes, and the flexibility to take that, we have a lot of the same classes at different periods. So most of the time, I'd say almost as a scheduler, I'd say 96% of the time a student's able to get all the classes that they want. Do all teachers use Canvas for their students' workload notifications?
Yes.
Yes.
Some of my teachers don't always update the grades on Canvas, but your grades will always be on Infinite Campus. So Canvas is more for like the individual assignments, but not necessarily your overall grade in the class. So make sure you're checking Infinite Campus, because Canvas isn't always accurate.
But also, if your teacher doesn't use Canvas as accurately, I guess, as your other teachers do, they'll definitely have a system that works in their classroom that will keep you up on it.
And so that's another, because not every teacher is the same, the way they organize their thing. Either their online class, their Canvas, where their grades are, where their assignments are. That's why I like to use a digital. So I have all my links copied and pasted right there when I help set up students to get organized. So it's really important because there's a lot of different areas where you're going to find information for all your classes. So if you set that up, yes, it takes time in the beginning, but in the long run, it saves you time. How hard is it to get into student council freshman year? I believe you guys should have had elections already.
Well,
Wait, hold on.
Well, we still have to interview all the incoming freshmen. So if you did apply, then you'll come either to DC or we'll come to Mesa and interview. And we usually accept less freshmen than all the other classes. But if you didn't get in freshman year, then definitely reapply sophomore, junior, senior, because you have a better chance of getting it.
Yeah, the information for that will be coming out very soon. But yeah, it is difficult the first year, not impossible, but definitely keep going if you don't make it your first year, because it's something that's super awesome. So.
And it's mainly based on numbers. I mean, Allen Covey would accept everyone if they could, but it's just like difficult to have too many people. So freshmen are definitely the class that we have to cut back on.
Ah, the first warning of being on the bottom of the totem pole. Limited space. You are last to get what electives you want. We start with seniors and work our way down. But again, if you don't get something, and I'd say 90% of freshmen get their electives they choose. So that's not like me trying to tell you guys you're not going to get, you're going to probably get your electives. But for the more popular classes, for our college, our concurrent classes, for our tech classes, we're going to have a brand new autos garage next year. Unfortunately, you guys probably won't get that till sophomore, junior, senior year. How much homework? What was the difference you guys saw on the amount of homework assigned from middle to high school?
Honestly, I feel like the homework load wasn't necessarily that different for me, just as long as you keep up with your work. Most teachers will give you class time to work on assignments, and then it depends on the teacher, but some teachers will give you specific homework and then specific in-class work. But as long as you just keep up with it, don't procrastinate, just do it the day that you get it, or at least start it the day that you get it, and you just keep up with it. You shouldn't fall too far behind.
Good morning.
All right, I'm sorry. That is going to be the end of our Q&A. I'm so sorry. If you have more questions, please, please, please email your counselor. I'm sorry we have to end, but I just found out we were doing these drills yesterday. Mesa, we can't wait to see you. Thank you so much. Good luck.